According to New York Daily News and True Crime Daily, just this last week, a 51-year-old mom from Forest Hills, Queens, dead body was found stabbed 58 times and stuffed in a duffel bag near a sidewalk a half-mile away from her home. Someone actually walking a dog called police and reported a suspicious duffel bag with blood on it. The victim's name is Orsolya Gaal, and she was found at 8:10 a.m. on Saturday, April 16th. The sidewalk that she was found on was actually near a densely wooded park. Her body was found covered in blood, and she had no ID on her or in the bag. But police were actually able to identify her by following a trail of blood that led all the way back to her home a half-mile away. I mean, think about that. They found the bloody bag and then identified her by following a blood trail that led all the way back to her home. When police arrived, they made an emergency entry into the home and found her 13-year-old son alone in the house. The 13-year-old son told officers that his mom lived in the house but had been gone since she went out the night before. Now, authorities told WPIX that Orsolya allegedly went on a date with another man who was not her husband that night and never returned. Cops say her 13-year-old son was questioned in the case but has since been released. Surveillance footage shows a person dragging the bloody duffel bag behind them as they wear a sweatshirt and dark pants, so we know the exact time that her body was dumped in the duffel bag. Neighbors identified Orsolya and said her husband Howard was currently traveling out of the state with their son, who is 17 years old. Now, their trip was actually almost over and they were on their way back to New York at the time that the body was found. So yes, her husband and other son were out of town at the time of death. We know that Orsolya attended business school in Budapest and has family in Hungary. She also has a lot of Facebook pictures with her sweet dog and has traveled across seas before. Now, her husband's Twitter account shows that he was out of the state with his son early Saturday morning. He told police that he actually received a text saying, "Your whole family is next," after the death. Neighbors acted stunned by the case, claiming that the family seemed extremely normal, and it's a really quiet neighborhood. They had lived there for 9 years. Police have not released information about whose blood is on the sidewalk, and that's all we know so far about Orsolya's death. Stabbed 58 times and stuffed in a duffel bag a half-mile away from her home. Gruesome and violent cases like this will never cease to stun me.